Okay, now you can see here on this front piece that I've gone ahead and added one of the doors. I added a piece of double folded piece of paper, you know, the kind glued together, on one side, and I've added in these little strips here, and you can see I really goofed that little bit up right there. It looks really nasty, but guess what? No one's going to see it. So I wanted to show you how I did this, and I've got these two pieces ready to go. I goofed up on my measurements a little bit, but I'm not gonna worry about it. But you can see this is the double folded with some little raised bits here for, I guess, decoration, etc. I'm going to glue the one on the back first. And I do these just a tick differently. I put the glue here, and you can see I really didn't take it all the way to the edges because I don't need a whole lot. And yes, I use a lot of bamboo for the little glue smearing around, because I get enough glue on my hands. And I still do this. This is such a bad habit. And I'm basically just popping it in. And you can see here, if we come down, I've still got a bit of a gap there. So there's enough room for this to fold and open. Okay. And I'm using this to burnish it all down. Okay. So that makes it easier to open and close. Double check it on this side, but you can see it's already starting to curve just a little bit. So for this one, I thought I'd try another piece on the outside instead of just the little pieces. I want to try a whole piece here to see if that is any different. Will it help keep it from curling too much? Let's see. Get this all the way on here. I keep doing this. Don't do what I do. You can see I've made a little X on one of the pieces. Now, because of all of this that I've already glued on, I can't burnish it down, but I can press it down really hard. And then come along here, along these little edges, and make sure everything's attached. Okay, so I bet you can tell what that hole is for, what this is for. It's for a hole. And I'm just going to use my trusty thin bullet. I'm going to raise this up because you won't really be able to see it. And I did a quick measure. Some of it's by eyeball. And it's in there. And then I do this thing where I add this on the back, and then I very carefully go through the back. Now, what happens on the back, and the reason I do this from front to back, is because when you are not punching a hole, but you are pushing a hole through, you can see that there's some material there. I usually like to have a little bit more blade here. I just cut this little bit off. No one's going to see it. Okay. Okay, so now that part is ready to go. Now you can tell this is starting to get really not happy along here. Now, I'm not going to cut anything out of this one. Well, yeah, I am. I want to talk to you, show here. You can see I'd drawn where the drawer is going to go, and then I came back in and measured about 1 millimeter in. Now, that is so that the drawer box that I build will fit into this space. I'm not going to cut it here and here because I really want this to remain 5 millimeters. So I'm going to come in just a tiny bit and cut this portion out. And then after that, I'm going to put this underneath and let it just glue. let it marinate. And I'm using my crookedy wookedy little blade here, and just coming in and carefully cutting this little bit out. Now, I can kind of hear some of you maybe thinking, why am I getting so like over the top with this paper folding furniture stuff? And for me, it's satisfying a couple of things. I'm gonna have to use, since I'm not gonna be wide enough. I'm gonna have to do it this way. What it does is I can design this so that you can just print it out. A person can just print it out on a piece of heavyweight paper cardstock, cut it out, folded it up, and it'll be done. Now, the reason for that is my furniture patterns didn't do incredibly well. I honestly don't think these will do incredibly well either. That's just me. But if I remove the obstacle of, or I should say the creative speed bump of the outside textures and color. So you got to, in my mind, all of this is in a wood texture or pattern and is simply glued together, that it becomes something that is more easily that for a person who is not me, it would seem to be an easier thing to accomplish. Does that make sense? Like for me, it's no big deal painting this, but I have to know, I know that there are not people that are like, oh, I could do this. Oh, I could do that. Oh, wait a minute, I could do that. Not everybody's like that. My brain is weird. So for me, wanting to make sure that everyone can experience the degree of accomplishment in creating something, I'm doing it this way. Does that make sense? Because if you're a person who follows me, and I just decided I am going to cut this out, if you've been following me for a while and you know that I'm an art teacher, that was, I think there were some of my friends might have been questioning as to, is she going to be an okay art teacher? It's because I want everyone who participates in a lesson or buys a pattern, or who follows something, who knows, you may decide that you want to give some of this a whirl yourself to see what you can do, that it is enjoyable, you can do it, you've just got to be patient with yourself, and you can have a lot of fun figuring things out. And it doesn't need to be perfect. I mean, a lot of my stuff is pretty janky. I'll get right down to it. This, just a little scrap, I'll keep as I toss it over there. Now, let's come back over here, because this is the part where I start getting really excited. Because now I can start lining things up and going, okay, we are achieving our objective here. Let me line this up. It's getting starting to get dark. You can see where I need to put in the supports, the top part, a bottom part. I'm going to put one shelf down here, so 3, 1 here, 4, 1 here, 5, maybe 2, because I'm not sure, 6 here. So I'll need at least 6 of these triangles because they are the right size and the supports that will hold everything up. So what I'm going to do with this, so I don't hurt it, is I'm going to very carefully lift up my mat and stash it underneath my mat. And you've got to know that every time I do that, I think of a student of mine who used to call, I used to put out on the tables, depending on what we were doing, a piece of manila paper. It was 11 by 17 manila paper. It's the cheapest paper you can get. It was kind of a catch-all for things. Kids could, if they needed to, they could doodle something on it, if they needed to figure something out, if they need a little scratch paper, or it would catch the glue. It would help keep the tables a little neater, and then I wouldn't have to wrap the tables. That was a lot harder. But he started calling it his artist placemat. And another student, the next year teaching, I was trying to figure out how to get them to not cut through two pieces of paper that they would choose. They go choose two pieces of paper, put them down, and they were to cut one of the papers in one way and one in another. But sometimes with the little kids, like second graders, they'd pick up both and they'd start cutting, and it was like, no big deal, no big deal. Chuck that one into the scrap paper and go get another piece of blue paper. Not a problem. But one little second grader said, I know. I'll take the one I'm not going to cut, and I lift up my artist placemat, put it underneath my artist placemat so I can't cut it. So, not only does artist placemat stick, but your artist placemat was something where you could put stuff and it would be safe. You wouldn't mess it up. So I take those things with me. So I don't have an artist placemat that's manila paper. I have various cutting mats and such. So I think of this as my big artist placemat, and I put things underneath it that I don't want to get goofed up. Long story. Sorry about that. But in the next video, I'm going to show you how I make the little triangle bits and how I actually map out all of this, using this as a guide, but not necessarily as a traceable template. It can be a traceable template in a pinch. It's way better to just map it all out. It's super easy. And I'll show you how to do that in the next video. Thank you, patrons, and I'll see you next time.